Just on the last point, a general strike across the country to address the cost of living crisis would be a good idea at the moment, and would be a good example of unity on a shared island basis, but that's not the point I wanted to make. The question is, Taoiseach, you refer to the role of women on an all-island basis, and I just wonder, notwithstanding your commitments, which we are very sceptical about, on the new National Maternity Hospital, that all procedures that should be available to women and that are legally available to women will actually be provided, given the influence of the Sisters of Charity and the St Vincent's Hospital Group and their ownership of the site. But what sort of signal does it send to the North, to women, to the idea of diversity and inclusivity on an all-island basis, when we're trying to overcome decades of sectarian division, of the ideas of sectarianism itself, of the domination of state institutions, of services like health and education, that the new National Maternity Hospital will be on a site owned by a private religious charity? Like, does that not just completely undermine any credibility we might have as being serious about a different type of Ireland that breaks from the past, that will be attractive to people from all political traditions, to bring about unity in this country and to bring genuine cooperation on an all-island basis in critical things like women's healthcare, and indeed the wider fact that the majority of our schools and much of our health service continues to be in the hands of private religious organisations dominated by one particular religious viewpoint. Isn't that problematic? And don't you think we have to do something about that, to separate church and state in all areas, particularly women's healthcare, if we're to be taken seriously in terms of uniting this country on an all-island basis?
In terms of Deputy Boyd Barrett, again, as I said earlier, I mean, we do need to provide modern facilities for women in this country in terms of maternity, gynaecology and so forth. And to me, every day we lose in terms of getting the National Maternity Hospital off the ground and the project is a day lost in terms of quality care for women. And so in that context, you know, the government have worked with the HSE to improve on the Mulvey situation, the outcome of the Mulvey negotiations at the time of mediation from the time of the previous government. We have, my understanding is the proposal will represent a very significant advancement, absolute guaranteeing all procedures that are legally available in this state to women who would avail of services in a new hospital. But we do need to move on with it, and there has to be a transfer and so on like that in terms of property and all of that, and state control. And I would say to you more generally, in education, we've moved on with Educate Together a lot, you know, over the years, and there's plurality of choice now for many parents, and that will progress and that will evolve and improve. In healthcare, it's been more patchy, but the health board hospitals are state-owned hospitals, and we've independent hospitals there like James's and others and Beaumont. But the creation of the HSE created a more national framework for hospitals.
Sorry to interrupt, I'm going to let you run on, but you'll be 15 minutes over for this question. That means we're not going to get to the third lot of questions. So there are still 3 or 4 people to be answered. So I'm going to let it run to 15. Fair enough. 50, yeah, and then we're into the second lot and we won't deal with the third lot.
Okay. I was just going to say, Deputy, that on the health front, I think we are moving to a situation where it's increasingly state-run, state-funded and state-controlled. In terms of all of the tertiary hospitals in the country, and indeed other model hospitals as well. And that's where it's heading because of the complexity of health. And that's, in my view, is the way it has to go on the health side.